is a little bit more challenging. Emily, do you need another one? No, you have memorized. All right. So next part is gonna be a little bit more challenging. Is hey, if you able to do that part. If you're able to do all this part, what I mean by, hey, can you tell me what 6 times 7? So one more thing I'm going to start to tell you is the second page. The second page is going to be a little bit harder. The second page is going to ask you, okay, well, what? Yeah, you're right. It's not connected. Wait, it is connected, but iPad's not moving. Okay, now let me close this. So let me reopen the QuickTime. Okay, now it's connected, right? Okay. So now let's talk about SOHCAHTOA. What is SOHCAHTOA? Put that phone away. Right on your other phone. I can throw it out the window. Oh, easy. I'll just lock your phone. So, so if you have, what is SOHCAHTOA? So in geometry, we learn about SOHCAHTOA. What is a SOHCAHTOA? SOHCAHTOA is gonna be sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. What the hell are they doing? Cosine theta. Cosine theta is equal to what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Good. Tangent theta is equal to, what is it? Opposite over adjacent. Well, where did I get that? It's right here. So, ka toa. Do you see that? So sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. What does that mean? Now, that means in unit circle, remember this triangle. Let's just look at the red triangle. If this is the theta, right, that's the angle, this becomes the opposite. Does that make sense? That's opposite of that theta. And this adjacent of that theta. And this becomes hypotenuse of that theta. But what happened in unit circle? Hypotenuse is always what? 1. So inside unit circle is sine of theta. Normally it's not like this. If it's bigger than 1, so normally it's not just 1. We can talk about what if it's not 1. Sine of theta is equal to opposite over 1. Does that make sense? In this case, it's also equal to y over 1. So therefore, sine of theta is equal to y. Cosine of theta is equal to adjacent over 1. So it's x over 1. So cosine theta is equal to x. Now this is only within the unit circle. If the radius is bigger, then it's different. Within unit circle, this is exact ratio. Am I going too fast? Now, tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So that's equal to y over x. So tangent theta is equal to y over x. So this is a very crucial. Inside the unit circle only occur inside unit circle. Am I going too fast? Which just means Ian, are you paying attention? Are you following me so far? Okay, which just means I can ask you sine of 60 degrees. This means what is the y value? Why? Because sine theta is equal to y, right? What is the y value when the theta is equal to 60 degrees? Which just means what, Ian? Without looking at unit circle, it's a little bit harder, right? I want you without looking at unit circle. Actually, matter of fact, I'm gonna pass out this paper. You cannot fill anything on it. Don't write any things on it because I'm gonna come check. You can look at this empty circle and look at where 60 degree is. So this is your quiz, but you cannot write anything on that. If you write on that, you automatic fail. So you cannot write anything on it. I'm gonna check before you start. I remember one time those people tried to cheat on this test. It was pretty funny. I forgot his name though. He was trying to cheat. So he was smart. It was a very clever idea. So he had one that's filled out, and he put underneath his butt. And when the test started, he put that away, and then he turned up the fill-in one, which is I thought was very clever. But I saw it. I saw something on his butt. I was like, dude, what's that paper on your butt? Let me see it. I was like, man, Mr. A, you caught me. So, but cheating is no help. Trust me. So don't cheat. So can anybody tell me what is sine of 60 degree? Go ahead.
Root of 3 over 2.
Root 3 over 2. The answer is going to be root 3 over 2. So let's go back and look at the unit circle here. What do you mean by 60 degrees? 60 degrees right here, right? Is the tall triangle. If it is tall triangle, it should have a higher y value. Does that make sense? It should be a y value and thinner x value. Is that okay? So it should be root 3 over 2. By the way, I want to talk about yin. Yin did mention about a pattern that you guys can see. It's actually the pattern, but I want you to understand the similar triangle. The pattern is 0 over 2 is less than 1 over 2, is less than 2 over 2, is less than 3 over 2, is less than 4 over 2. Now, you're going to say, well, duh, right? Is that true? Can I put a square root on the top? Is that true? Can it be 0 less than 1/2 less than square root 2 over 2 less than square root 3 over 2 less than 1? Guess what? They all the value here. 0, 1/2, square root 2 over 2, square root 3 over 2, 1. And that's what Yin was talking about, a pattern. Yes, a pattern is based on start with 0 over 2, 1 over 2, 2 over 2, 3 over 2, 4 over 2. And if I do square root on the top, then it's going to give you all the value inside the unit circle, even including 0 and 1. So that's to help you something. Now, sine of 60 degree is equal to square root 3 over 2. Is that okay? It's everybody understand that before we move on? Yes? Okay, yes. You have to right now you have to use unit circle. Okay? Now, now look at your blank one. Don't look at the one that's filled in. So I want you to look at this blank one right here. Don't look at the one that filled in. So that's practice if you actually know the value. See the distance, right? If you see here, 60 degree, if you know where the angle is, we're going to look at the one filled in first. 60 degree, it's going to be closest to y-axis. So the x should be smaller value, y is a bigger value. Does that make sense? If you look at any 45 degree, the x and y should be exactly the same because that's isosceles. If you look at 30 degree, it should have wider x, shorter y. I call it fat butterfly. Has a widest butterfly, widest length. Okay? And the green butterfly is the tall butterfly. It's tall and skinny. And the red one is fat and short. I'm not fat shaming anybody. Don't worry. Okay. And the 4 is going to be right in the middle. So this is very good to tell. So I want you to look at the empty sheet of paper. And I want you to tell me what is cosine of 120 degrees. So what's cosine of 120 degrees? Don't write on it. Do not write on it. Pencil, do not touch your paper. Use your finger. Use your finger to see it. Where's 120 degree is. And what will be that? Cosine is asking x value or y value. Right? And then can you tell me? If you know it, raise your hand. Marley? Negative 1/2. That's awesome. You already mastered somewhat the skills. Because that is the x value at cosine of 120 degrees. Don't worry, I'm going to make it harder. What is sine of 7 pi over 4? Now I'm asking radian. So use use finger to see that. Don't write on that. You cannot write on that. So think about what 7 pi over 4 is and what is sine asking? X value, y value. Jesus, what do you think? I don't know. Look at the papers. Huh? Sine of 7 pi over 4. Don't look at the one already filled in. Put away the one you already filled in. Okay. Okay, cool. Perfect. Very good job. See, that way you really know your unit circle. Because not only you have to know where the location of 7 pi over 4, you have to know the y value on a particular part. So I'm helping you review what is going to be on your unit circle. So that says cosine of 5 pi over 6. Don't use pencil. Don't put on it. Yen? Liam?
Negative for the other two.
Rylan?
The same thing.
Same thing. Negative square root 3 over 2. So Ian, not just about memorizing the pattern, you have to recall where the location is. So I will put my finger all the way to here, 5 pi over 6, and I say its cosine is the x value. Cosine x. Yes. So that is going to be the x value, so be negative root 3 over 2. Is that okay? Is that okay so far? Yes? Okay. Neil, do you understand? Okay. Now I'm going to make a question a little bit harder, okay? Sine of 13 pi over 3. Maybe 13 pi over 3 is a little bit too hard. Let's do like 7 pi over 3. Sorry, let's change it to 7 pi over 3. So can I go through sine of 7 pi over 3 is? Now, I usually give the same analogy to people. If it's a wheel, it doesn't matter how many times it rotates, it's still a wheel. Doesn't mean you rotate the second time the wheel is going to get bigger or smaller. No, it doesn't do the same thing. McKenna was first one to raise her hand. I think that's the first time I call her name, right? It's McKenna, right? Okay. All right. What was it?
Radical 3 over 2.
Does everybody understand why it's radical over 3? Radical 3 over 2? Yes. It's just a full rotation, which is 6 pi over 3. That's why I told you guys to remember this point. This one here, that's why I told you to memorize this, because if you memorize this, it's 6 pi over 3 instead of 2 pi, then I just add pi over 3 on top of pi, on top of 6 pi over 3. So it's 7 pi over 3. Yes, Marley.
Test, are we allowed to have an empty unit circle, like with nothing written on it, or do we just have to have it?
For today's homework, I want you to practice with an empty one. On the actual test, I'm going to take it away. The reason why is I'm going to slowly taking away all the handicaps. Okay? And that's what makes you better than other people. So you can see those things. Matter of fact, I used to have a tournament in my class, and this tournament is gonna be like face off. It's like tournament of 64 people, and this tournament is staring contests. So not only you have to stare at each other, telling the value, but your eyes cannot rotate.
Oh, you can't look around the whole thing.
Your eyes cannot rotate. That makes things a lot harder. Think about it. If I would ask you what's cosine of 7 pi over 4, your eyes gonna involuntarily rotate to 7 pi over 4. It's involuntary reactions. So you have to control your involuntary reaction where it doesn't even rotate, where you can think of things without things. So it's a possible, like try it. It's a possible to tell me sine of 2 pi over 3 without rolling your eyes. Do you realize your eyes are rolling without without things? So this happened in the Zoom class before. In the Zoom class when I taught during COVID, so we will have face out between each students, and we have to look at each other in the screen without looking at anything. So you have to say that each other person is going to give each other person the question, and you have to be able to call. So this is actually become more challenging, but I don't think you guys can do that. But it's gonna be kind of hard. But right now you can rotate your eyes. It's okay. So you can rotate more than one circle, right? You can rotate more than one circle. Can you do cosine? Now this one's a little bit more challenging. Can you do negative 5 pi over 6? Well, what's negative mean? Rotate clockwise, right? So again, look at your empty sheet of paper. What's cosine of negative 5 pi over 6? What will be that value? Yep, cosine of negative 5 pi over 6. So Ian says negative root 3 over 2. Is that right? Because it's rotate this way, it's at the third quadrant, right? It's third quadrant. All the pi over 6 has a wider x value. So that is negative root 3 over 2. Is that okay for you guys? Are you guys okay? Okay. Let me ask you a little bit more challenging. What is tangent of pi over 4? This one I'm going to ask Austin. What is tangent of pi over 4? Austin?
Yeah.
Okay, other people have answered.
Do one.
Tangent of pi over 4. Andrew? Armin? One is right. Why is tangent of pi over 4 is 1? Well, tangent of pi over 4 is the y over x. Does that make sense? And they both have square root 2 over 2 over square root 2 over 2. Now, square root 2 over 2 divided by square root 2, this is going to be like this. Divide, going to have keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Is that okay? This 2 cancel out, this 2 cancel out. The answer is 1. The 1 is a really nice answer. Okay, what is tangent of, I don't know, 7 pi over 6? Again, this one you probably need a pencil to work it out. Make sure your answer is always proper rationalize. I don't know if this one need to rationalize. Robert?
Negative 3 radical over 4.
What?
Negative 3 over 3 over 4.
No. Aiden?
Negative square root of 3.
Austin?
Root 3. Here.
That's the
Negative-
same answer as
Negative root 3.
Armin?
Is it negative 2 times radical 3 over 6?
I don't like that. Ian?
1 over radical is 1 over square root of 3.
I don't like that, but it's not wrong. Yes?
Negative 1 over 2.
Negative and a negative. You have 2 negatives.
Brandon?
Radical 3 over 3.
Radical 3 over 3. Why? Because this one is means sine of 7 pi over 6 over cosine of 7 pi over 6. Does that make sense? Because they both are 7 pi over 6. What is sine of 7 pi over 6? That means you had to know two values. What is sine of 7 pi over 6? It's going to be what? Negative half. Does that make sense? And the negative square root of 3 over 2. So since a negative and 2 over square root of 3, this one's going to cancel. And that's going to be 1 over root 3, but that's not the most simplified answer. 1 over root 3 can rationalize. So use pencil to work it out. Square root 3 over 3. So that is the answer. Now I'm going to introduce you a couple things that you don't know about. First of all, you have to know other function besides sine, cosine, and tangent. So there is a sine theta is equal to 1 over cosecant theta. You might want to write this down. Cosine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. Tangent theta is equal to 1 over cotangent theta. Now, what's the other side? The other side is cosecant theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. So you're learning a new function, cosecant theta. This stands for CSC is cosecant. So CSC is cosecant. And this one is going to be secant of theta is equal to 1 over cosine theta. And the cotangent of theta is equal to 1 over what? Tangent theta. So CSC is cosecant. SEC is secant. And the cotangent is look like this. So you're learning a new function. Not only sine, cosine, tangent, which is we learn geometry. In pre-calculus, we learn new functions called reciprocal function. Cosecant theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. Now, how do I remember? Do you guys, the boys knows that there's a game called, I don't know, a long time ago, there was a game called Counter-Strike, right? CS? Ryder knows the game, right? CSGO is what they called it? Yeah, that's the game. So the way I kind of remember is the Counter-Strike strike counter is the same way. SC, like strike counter, or CS, right? Counter-Strike. The cotangent and tangent, they are inverse to each other. They're not inverse, they are reciprocal to each other. So if you start with a sine, it should be 1 over cosecant. You start with a 1 over cosecant, should end up with 1 over sine. And that's the way I kind of think about things. So try the easy way to think about. So SCCS is always the other side. So you start with sine, then has to be 1 over cosecant, not cosine though. So you gotta pay attention to that. So here's my question. Is it possible for me to ask cosecant? Yeah, of course. Can I ask you what is cosecant of pi over 6? Now this becomes a little bit more thinking. I'm going to help you here. So cosecant theta is 1 over sine of pi over 6. Is that okay? Is that okay? And that's equal to 1 over, what is sine of pi over 6? 1/2. So 1 divided by 1/2 is 2. So the answer is 2. Lena is not here today, right? Oh. Does that make sense? So can I ask you cosecant, cotangent, and secant? I'm going to ask you one. What is secant of, I don't know, 7 pi over 4? Your homework today, you're going to look at your blank sheet of paper to get your brain to interact with the new knowledge. Don't use the one that's filled in. Now you can do whatever hell you want, but I'm just trying to tell you, you're gonna start taking away slowly because later I'm gonna ask you to recall this value in like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Even as much as you don't roll your eye, that's gonna be super hard. No, you're not gonna have a quiz about that. But it'll be a cool competition though. Your eyes always rotate. What is it, Robert?
Well, I don't know if this is it putting it under one the same as flipping it or not? Is that
You put a one to one, that means you flip in the bottom.
yeah, so it would be 2 over the square root of 2.
Yeah, but that's not rationalized. What is it?
And the square root of 2.
So you think about it, it's going to be 1 over cosine of 7 pi over 4. Is that okay? So that means 1 over root 2 over 2. So that means you write down 1 divided by root 2 over 2. That's something 1 times 2 over root 2. So it'll be 2 over root 2 is the final answer, but it's not rationalized. So it's square root 2 times square root 2. So it'll be 2 square root 2 over 2. Cancel out root 2. That's a positive answer. You want to try one? Okay. What's a cosecant of? Oh, this one's hard. 2 pi over 3. This one's probably the most difficult one. You might need a pencil, Ian. I guess chocolate milk help you stay awake. Better than Mountain Dew. Because your homework is going to be a whole worksheet, 45 questions of recognizing what is what. This part, I really believe that in this class, at this particular section, is probably the best in everywhere. Just because I should teach somebody, I spent 1 day teaching somebody pre-calc. The kid only needed 1 day to learn whole pre-calc. And I'm able to condense the version into that small version that way can be precise on everything. Usually in calculus, I teach them in a week. This kid can do it in 1 day. But we're trying to build up to a small section where you can do it. Okay. Anybody got an answer, Mariana? It's not bad. Not bad. Okay, so let's try it. 1 over sine of 2 pi over 3. Is that okay? Everybody recognize that? Is cosecant is 1 over sine? Okay, so that is going to be 1 over root 3 over 2. Is that okay? And then that is going to be 1 divided by root 3 over 2. That's equal to 2 over root 3. Is that okay? So now you're going to rationalize it. So it'll be 2 root 3 over 3. And that's the final answer. How many of you guys got this? Okay, that's very good. Very good. All right. You have roughly homework about this. So the homework is going to look like something like... The homework gonna look like exactly like this. Now, oh, by the way, by the way, sometimes you will get 0 over 1 or 1 over 0. 0 over 1 is 0. 1 over 0 is what? Undefined. So you have to know, sometimes you will get, like, say, tangent of pi over 2. Tangent of pi over 2 is going to be 1 over 0. That's going to be undefined. So sometimes you get 0 over 1. That's just a 0. And if you want a homework first, I can airdrop to you. So you just have to turn on the airdrop. But meanwhile, take up everything. Let me check your unit circle. Had nothing to write on it. You can even start writing your name until I call the time. You can't even write your name on it. Cannot. So put away. Flip your table forward. So all the things that are facing each other, just face your forward. We can change it to back. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about positive and negative. Steer forward. So you got 7 minutes. I'm gonna come check your paper. But if you cannot write your name on it, don't write your name on it. For 7 minutes. Charlotte, do you want to take it today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay, you and Lena can take tomorrow. Fine.
Thank
So you and I get 2 days. Okay, I mean, so we'll check your paper first. Okay, ready? You got 7 minutes. Go. Write your name on it. Okay. Now remember, you make one mistake, it's a mistake. So don't hurry turning paper. You can if you want, if you're confident. just happy to see the links. If you're done, you can give it to me. Yeah, put your name on it. That'd be smart. One minute and 20 seconds. You do it. So give it to me. Yeah. Nathan?
Yeah.
The homework will be posted in the contents of the back house. It's on a video. I told you. But you can come back to next one.
Yeah, I can't come back to the day. I don't like it.
You don't like it? You're forced to play?
Well, like, my mom's always wanted to be able to play
Well,
piano. And like, she took
I don't
time
know
to things though.
only
So,
slightly.
she knows how to play. But,
You live at America.
yeah, I mean, I like it.
Because I forced my kids to do math. It's like some situation.
Well, like, I like it, but I don't like being told what to play.
That's true. I can see that.
It's a good.
Well, you're kind of messed up with the question. When it's log and like in parentheses x plus something, you kind of break it up to log x plus digits.
Yeah, it's only multiplication. Rules is multiplication.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
That's just so nasty every time I see it.
why?
It's like everything.
And I'm getting so like, oh come on.
Who? Oven? No, it's not oven.
Because of the hair.
Yeah.
Really not racist. Trying to see you in the first period once. I came in asking was like, he's not gonna be here.
I'm usually here at 7:22.
Oh, wow. That's what I did last Friday. I couldn't get up.
If something's absolute value, can you square it and take the square root?
Oh no, wait.
Like the question from the homework.
The reason why it has to value is because natural law. It's not natural law mechanics. So
Yeah.
that's where doesn't really matter. This is fine.
So like when I take derivative, that's when I get a positive no matter what. Like I was taking the derivative of
Yeah, that part doesn't matter because the absolute value has its own problems. Just because you want to make sure inside the value.
That's what's the essay.
I don't know.
No, it's the pre-calc. No, they stayed back. I feel.
If I was back to TikTok, I'll go crazy with TikTok. If I was back to TikTok, oh my god.
Algebra 2 or is it
If I cornered class, I went to this girl how to find slope. I felt so cool. I'm like, this is how I find slope. That's how all my pickup. That's how you find slope.
More about that.
Oh, Mario, you're so smart. I want to shoot iReady every single time I have a say. It's like, why is it so slow? Can I just fast forward the guy talking? Shut the hell up.
And if you get questions wrong, it makes you do the entire day over again instead of wrong questions. I agree.
Did you guys never do
No, okay, so Math Nation's worse.
I think
No, I
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my question.
Oh, that's fun.
No, but like Darnell, bro. You guys remember Darnell? Like 2 years.
Oh my god, no. That's so Right. Stop it. Oh, stop it. You know what? Yeah, it's kind of you can just
Oh, the winter one, yes, bro. This is what I did description. I would have liked to find them. I got to that.
Nothing they might like.
No, dude, they're like winter that thing. I mean, like,
You reached a new level of grade.
Yeah, no, it was beginning was right. It was easy. You all had principles of work. You got 95% or higher in every class.
Yes,
Yeah.
every time like yesterday you were like, I just need to buy this.
Or what?
It's intentional.
Which I like.
Yeah.
I got messed up. So, okay.
The hardest part was you're doing the acting grip.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be the question of the day. All right. We are starting with natural law configuration. We are going to some questions. I need some donation in the classroom. One of the donation I need you to see if you can donate is markers, erasers. Eraser I can find a rack, but I need more markers. So if you be so kind, if you so instead of asking for Christmas present, asking for a donation of a marker, which is my name. So
You haven't bought memberships in
okay. So markers, and yeah. So because we can start writing on the board, I just feel like there's no more marker for you guys to write on. Second thing is I'm gonna yeah. So second thing is if you messed up on the last test, which is the thing, come back after school, make sure you go over. I know Sydney come back after school. I know Luke come back and look at it, but he didn't do anything with it. All right. So make sure you're going over that test because that's 20% of your FRQ, 20% of your whole test. So technically, if you know those three questions like inside out and you can get down to perfect perfections, then technically you will be pretty much automatically pass the AP exam. Because if you can get 27 points out of 3 FRQ, then let's just say you get 27 points, and multiple choice is 45 questions, but they are multiplied by 1.2. So each question you're gonna get multiplied by 1.2. So let's just say you get 10 questions correct, and you guess randomly on your multiple choice. You guess 10 questions randomly. That 10 questions is gonna turn to 12 points. 12 points plus 27 points, 39 points. You needed 3 more points to get a 42, which is a 3. So that's one part I don't agree with AP exam because it's the threshold for to get a 3 is so low. But I think anybody in this room can do it. Okay, it doesn't matter how low your math is. But you want to try to get higher too because you want to get higher work. You might have some mistake, then it's gonna go back to 42, and that's fine. You still pass. So you want to get above. Ideally, I want to get 5. Everybody get a 5. Realistically, that happening are not likely. But I think half of you guys have potential to get a 5. I really still believe that, and I believe that you should try to aim for 5. Because let's say Oma want to go UCF. If you got a 4, they're gonna ask you to retake Cap 1. So they will ask you to retake Cap 1, and UCF Cap 1 is a pain in the ass. I see their test question is the worst. The professor is the worst. They are nowhere near to be like this class. Nowhere near. No, they are the professor, you can barely understand him. This Chinese guy that you barely understand him, or a Russian guy, you barely understand him. So no, you don't want to take at UCF, trust me. It's gonna be 400 people in the class. You can't even ask questions. You don't want to be like look like an idiot in front of 400 people. So try to do it well here. you can get through. At least try to get the 5. Okay, so homework question. I know the first question is gonna be ln1. So what is that? So I'm just gonna go over that one. Do you have a homework done?
Yes.
Okay, I trust you guys. So the ln1 is gonna be what? So what's the question? Ln of ln x squared, right?
Yeah.
And that's take derivative of this. So the idea is to understand. The idea is for you guys to make sure you understand is the argument. Nathan, let me go through it first. So this part here, I love this question because my friend wrote a book. Michael Barrett, he wrote the Black Book for SAT. Some of you guys probably used it before. I don't know if you guys ever hear of Black Book for SAT.
Yeah.
Okay, so my friend wrote that book. He's my fencing captain. I was doing fencing team. He was a captain. He took it the first time. He got a 1600 on SAT without even studying. So he says he was a linguistic major. He's not even a test prep. He's a linguistic major. So he write a research paper about like in order to understand a new language, like for example, every time you hear Chinese people, you hear them talking and you doubt they talk very fast. Matter of fact, every time you hear a new language, you doubt they talk very fast. Not any other type of language you hear very, very slow. Okay, like you can understand. So like in Spanish, right? I actually, if I listen to a Puerto Rican talk, they talk super fast. Right? Puerto Rican especially. But the Colombian is a little bit slower. Is that true? I don't know. Nathan, is that true? Where are you from? Okay. Yeah, Puerto Rican talks really fast. Cubans talk really fast, I feel like. But the thing is, it's not because anything else. It's actually, if a language, you can hear the space between words. The problem is when we hear a language, we hear the words mumbling together. We don't hear the space between words. So we feel like they talk really fast. So Michael Barrett, he write a research paper about that. Just say because there's this, in order to understand a new language, you have to understand where is the space between words. Otherwise, it's like typing without a space bar, right? That's what you hear, typing without space bar. But when you practice learning listening skill, you're practicing the space between words, not just owning the vocab, it's actually understanding space between the words. Now in math, I have a new theory about math. The people who are good at math, they understand where is the argument, where is a parenthesis lie. Okay, so this is the biggest part that I think a lot of students not able to see. So for example, 90% of students fail this question, right? 90% of students fail this question. It's not because they don't know how to do 2 squared. It's because they don't understand the parentheses. 90% in the school, you go ask randomly, 90% of students. In my pre-calc class, I started this question, only one student got it correct. That was Austin. And he was good at math. In my Austin, the one in swimming. Yeah. 37 kids, only one student got it correct. And that's pre-calc class. How many kids are taking pre-calc in the school? Not many. So I will say estimate about 90% of students doesn't know the difference between those two. Not because they don't know what 2 squared is, though. It's because they don't know. And matter of fact, I think if somebody posts on Instagram post, half the people that right down the bottom there, for sure the answer is right, but the answer is wrong. It's crazy. Huh? No, some Instagram people are dumb. They even argue with you. They will say -2 squared is going to be +4 because negative times negative. I'm like, what the wrong with you? But it's really bad. It's really bad. So United States is probably the worst in the world. Oh, I'm no lying. So what? So you're gonna assume this is a natural log of u. You're basically taking derivative of natural log of u. But what is u? U is equal to ln x squared. Better yet, u is actually 2 ln x. Why? Because that is the rules. So can I says, since I'm taking derivative of this, right? You should get u prime over u. But what is u? 2 ln of x. So would it be bottom? It's going to be 2 ln of x. Does that make sense? Yeah, I take a derivative, it's going to be u prime over u. But if I assign inside u, would that be 2 ln of x? Now, what is derivative of u? Well, that's going to be 2 times 1 over x, right? So would that be just, that's going to be 2 over x. 2 cancel out, it's going to be 1 over, and you don't want to write x behind ln x because that looks funny, because you dollar x multiply together, you'll want to do it this way. And that's your final answer. 1 over x ln of x. Some people did it this way. I saw Anthony teach people. I didn't stop him, but ln of, he write down ln of 2 ln of x. So this he turned into product. So ln2 plus ln of ln x. And derivative ln2 is 0 plus this still u. So it'll be ln of x, 1 and x. So it's still 1 over x, ln of x. It's still the same answer regardless. That's what Anthony tried to teach other people. I didn't say that was wrong. I just feel like that part is understand different rules. It's fine. Yeah. So remember, you imagine this is u. This whole thing is u. Now you can also simplify here though, because the ln x2. So can I change to u equal to 2 ln x? So you know if I take a derivative, whole thing is ln of u, the answer is going to be u prime over u. So write down the u first, which is the bottom, which is 1 over 2 ln of x, right? And then write down the u prime. U prime is multiplied right next to it. Just take a derivative of this, then it'd be 2 over x. So it would be actually, 1 over x ln of x. Anybody still confused, Rayham? You confused? Did you do homework, Rayham? Yes?
Do you have to move the 2 out? Can you do it without moving the 2?
You probably gonna get some answer. You're probably gonna get some answer. Did you get some answer?
2 over x ln x squared, which is probably the same. Because then you just like move it 2 out and
You move the 2 cancels, and then you 1 over x ln x.
Yeah, it should be okay. Next question. Yeah,
We do 75.
what does 75 says?
75 is the integral from 2 to ln 2x, and then it's t plus 1 dt.
And what are they asking?
I think we can
Find the derivative, right?
find
This is easy.
FTC.
Mm-hmm. So this is the f of x, right? This is FTC. So they are asking the f prime of x, right? So that means d to the dx of 2 ln of 2x over t plus 1. Now you're going to see this question again on your exam. This is a great question to ask. I don't need to take an integral of this. I know how to take an integral of this, but I don't want to take an integral of this. Why? Because I can assume ft. I'm going to assume g of t dt here. So I'm going to integration of 2 ln of 2x of g of t dt and d to dx. So far, are you guys okay? Now I'm going to integrate this. So it'll be g of ln of 2x minus g of 2. Is that okay? Now I'm going to take a derivative. It will be g of ln of 2x times derivative of ln 2x is what? 1 over x.
Oh, yeah.
Minus g of 2 times 0. So then I'm going to plug in that ln of 2x plus 1 times 1 over x. That will be the final answer. FTC. It's always an easy point on AP exam. For me, it's easy because I want everybody to get it because those are the for sure questions. The way to target any test, SAT or things like that, is you master at all the for sure questions. For example, on SAT, you're gonna be for sure how to do elimination, substitutions, right? They love that, right? You gotta be for sure solve literal equation, like P equal to I over I plus G. You gotta be able to solve for I. Those are the questions that's 100% for sure. Now, if you can knock out 80% of for sure questions, the 20% is based on luck. How lucky you are getting the question that you know of. So study that 20% is probably more difficult. Study those 80%, it's actually easy. What's 20% of 80? Duh. You gotta know how to do that. And now you're allowed to use Desmos, which is
In the SAT.
The problems you just like find from the intersection.
no, they can write some hard problems. They can write some hard problem. We went over one yesterday, and it's talking about hard problems. That even with Desmos is kind of
So
challenging.
Desmos is like an excuse to make problems harder, right?
Yeah, but only if you get to that module. It's adaptive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So your module one, if you have to, if you don't do it perfect, you cannot get to a module where you got hard problems.
Using question 69.
But isn't there like only like 2 versions? Like
I think there's more than one. There's more than 2 versions. I believe there's more than 2 versions. I think there was probably like 3 versions. One's like for complete idiots. I'm just gonna be flat out say that. So your score, your up score is gonna be 420.
But you get a 420
Yeah, I got a 370 before.
in the reading.
Yeah, and that's not adaptive. So I'm more worse than idiot.
Were you like real trying or like?
No, that's because English is my second language. When I just moved here, I was 10th grade.
No, but like, no, like because of that, like you didn't really like know what you're doing. You just didn't try, right?
No, I tried, but I still suck. Like imagine those SAT words are hard. I have no idea what's imperative mean. What is I don't know. Jaxler mean. What the hell is a Jaxler? Who used that word?
So it's y equals ln.
Sine of x? This is a great question. Now, why do I have absolute value there rather than not absolute value here? So here's the reason why you need to have absolute value for natural log. It's because natural log cannot have natural log of negative values. That will be undefined. So it has to put absolute value, but does not affect this problem. It can treat as a parenthesis, does not affect this problem. This is the u. So the bottom part is sine of x. The top part is going to derivative of u, which is cosine of x, which is equal to cotan of x.
Would you say about the top and bottom?
It's u prime over u. So bottom is sine of x, which is u. The top is derivative of the bottom. Does that make sense? Omar?
So for the absolute values, when I was familiar with Aiden, and for some reason he would do the square root of the thing squared.
It is true, but that's not a purpose here. So absolute value of something is square root of square. Yeah, that is true.
Do you think we can do that?
No, you don't need to do that.
I think if you have like a normal,
Yeah, this one the absolute value is there is because it doesn't want to get your negative value inside. Imagine if you have as 3 pi over 2. So sine of 3 pi over 2 is going to be -1. Natural log of -1 is undefined. So it's not going to be a defined function. So they want to give you a defined function so you can take a derivative. So they write as natural log sine of x. Next question. Now I love the two questions that's being asked. One is this one is this one. You're for sure gonna see this on the test. I love it. Yeah.
For you, will it always be the whole function or is it like x squared?
I have no idea what you're asking. You gotta give me a better example. Next question.
71.
71. Okay, what 71 says?
Absolute value over cosine.
Over what?
X minus 1.
Minus 1? Like this?
After you expand it, will you just be cosine x or be cosine x?
Well, it's gonna be both because there's two derivatives, right? So it'll be ln of cosine of x. You're absolutely right. ln of cosine of x minus 1. So this is the case you break up. Now, when you do it in derivative of each individual one, the u are different depending on which one you're talking about. So in this case, u is equal to cosine of x, right? So I'm just gonna be cosine of x here. It's gonna be negative sine of x. Is that okay? Minus this one's gonna be cosine of x minus 1. What's the derivative of that? It's gonna be negative sine of x, right? And then that's gonna be negative tangent of x, I think, plus sine of x over cosine of x minus 1. Absolute value in that case doesn't matter.
Oh, we don't have to keep going.
Just wondering because you substitute.
No, you don't have to combine them.
Huh?
I was just wondering because you substitute.
Yeah, use substitution for you're gonna treat as two separate problems.
Wait, Mr. Yu, how come it wasn't sine? Because I know the derivative of cosine is negative sine, but it's absolute value. Like, how did it not affect?
Like I say, it doesn't affect the absolute value because it doesn't change. The thing is, they want you to be able to take a derivative of that function. And in order to be able to take a derivative, they have to put an absolute value. But the way you treat it is going to be just like a parentheses. So we are 5.1. Other questions?
Can you do 77?
77. Oh, that's a good question. I love that question. The reason why equation tangent line is also on your test. Why is equation tangent line also on your test? It's gonna be equation tangent line is also on your test because that's stuff from before. So can you take a derivative of this? Yeah, of course. Right? So f prime, I want to figure out what the slope by 1. 6 minus 1 over 1 is a 5. Is that okay? So it'll be y minus 3 equal to 5 times x minus 1. That's called equation tangent line. Light work, right? Yeah. Okay. This is on the test. Yeah. I love equation tangent line. This is a for sure question.
Did this tomorrow?
No.
I mean, like, why not?
Laxmi is about gonna have fight with you.
I'm scared.
Like, why not?
When's the test?
That's not enough information to give you a test.
I agree. That's a fact.
Yeah, my test is gonna be like
Oh,
1 hour and 15 minutes test, you know.
period test. Dude, that would be crazy.
Like you have to do it in 45 minutes.
Mr. G, are you doing mock exam?
Huh?
You're gonna do a mock exam?
Yep. We give you a plenty to mock exam. By end, you're gonna be like AP exam master.
Can we do 72?
Huh? 72. Can I do that as a last one? Oh yeah, that's fine. 72. It's a natural log of a secant of x plus 10 of x. Now here's my question to you. What is u in this case? I'm asking you. You're gonna try. What is the u in this case?
Secant x plus 10.
There you go. That's good. This is a u. So write down secant of x. plus 10 of x. Now u prime, what's derivative of secant of x? Sexy 10, right? And what's derivative of tangent of x? And that's it. There is no natural log. I don't know why you guys still write down natural log after you take a derivative. Derivative of natural log of something, after that there's no more natural log. When you have that natural log still there, that means your answer probably gonna be off. Unless it's a product rule, quotient rule. You guys didn't ask 59. 59 is a quotient rule. So it's gonna be low D high minus high D low over low low. Okay. So let's talk about today's stuff. Is that okay? Today's stuff is a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna say, hey, let's take a derivative of this monstrous, right? Says 3x minus 2. I just named this. That says x minus 1 over to the third roots of 4x squared minus 1. And I'm going to take a derivative of this disgusting thing. Now, what is the problem here? What is the problem when I take a derivative? It's going to get very messy. Why?
Product rule, quotient rule.
Yeah, and it's going to be very messy. So the smart way is actually make it less messy. But if you realize all the questions I asked before, they were looking like this yesterday in the class, but there was a natural log in front of it, right? So this versus this, that just say y equal to, yesterday's question looks like this. And I can break that up and I can take derivative of individual pieces, right? What can I do today to make that become true? Yes. L in both sides. The one thing about math is for sure that you can do is you can apply something to the both sides, right? So I'm going to do ln of y equal to ln of this, right? I'm going to do ln on both sides. Can I do that? Yes, that's allowed. Now here's the problem. I'm going to take a derivative on both sides as well. So before we can take a derivative of this, it's going to be y prime. But what's derivative? The hardest part is actually the left side, because what's derivative of natural log of y? No, you're wrong. Huh? No. What's derivative of natural log of y?
1 over y.
No. The hardest part is actually on the left hand side. It was so simple, so innocent. But none of you guys have given me the right answer yet. Remember, like sometimes not the first one told me the answer. So a lot of you guys that make a mistake is you guys don't go do your big brain to think about it. You guys just spur it out without thinking, not processing. Processing is more important. So you're not the one. It's slow and steady win the race. It's not who first come up with the answer win the race.
Is it dy over dx over y?
Now you're thinking. So can I rewrite it as y prime over y? A lot of you guys don't go through the process thinking. Like good student, what they do is they think about it. They don't want to be the first one. First one is like first one to jump in the pit and die, and then, but you want to say, so okay, the pit is how much wider, and how far the energy you had to push to jump over the pit, and that's the idea that you have to do when you do math. You're not first one go with the gut instinct. You go with gut, usually you're gonna be wrong if you're going with the gut. So learn to slow down and process information. Like my son, like piss me off all the time. I'm like, why don't you process the information first? Why did you tell me the first answer? I asked him 3 plus 5. He would be like 6. And I was like, no, it's wrong. 7? I was like, no, it's wrong. It's 8. I said, well, you got it right now, but you guessed like 3 tries. You died 3 times. So why don't you just pause a little bit longer and tell me that 8 the first time? So things that you gotta learn how to do. So y prime over y. So that's equal to, well, in this case, I don't want to take a derivative yet. So just hold on a second. Hold up down for a second. We're gonna talk about that. So to erase that part. So we're just gonna break the other side because we have this now. So be 1/2 ln of 3x minus 2 plus ln of x minus 1, right? Plus a minus 1/3 of ln of 4x squared minus 1. Do you guys know what I did, right?
Yeah.
It's just same thing as before. There's no difference, right? Now I'm going to take a derivative. So I'm going to take d to the dx here. This is going to be y prime over y. This one's going to 1/2 3 over 3x minus 2. This is going to be 1 over x minus 1. This is going to be 1 over 3 times ax over 4x squared minus 1. Is that okay? Did I do anything different than yesterday? The only thing I did different than yesterday is this part. Right? Y prime over y. Now, the thing is I want to find dy dx. I'm not trying to find out y prime over y. So slightly different than yesterday. The y prime is equal to 1/2 3 times 3x minus 2 plus 1 over x minus 1 and minus 8x over 3 times 4x squared minus 1. Now times the y. What is a y? Square root x 3x minus 2 times x minus 1 over cube root of 4x squared minus 1. Why? Because I multiply y on both sides and y is the original function. So today's answer is slightly different. There was an actual y on the outside.
But why do you want to find y prime? Like, how would this help us?
That can help you find the derivative much easier rather than deal with product and quotient.
Okay.
I'm still finding dy dx regardless. We just use a different tool.
Oh, okay. Like you find the derivative. Okay.
Now, a lot of people do not do natural log both sides, and they will try to do quotient rule or product rule. I will mark it wrong regardless if you have the right answer or not, because I won't even look at it. Why? Because that's doing something like, it's something unnecessary because you got a better method to go to now. So this is called logarithm differentiations. You can derivative. So not only product, quotient rule, and chain rule, you have one of the things called natural log differentiation. You can improvise with natural log differentiation.
Why do you prefer natural log to normal log?
That's a good question because natural log, that's a great question because natural log, first of all, less writing. Natural log is much different. Now, log has all different kind of base. Log has base 2, normal log has base 10. But, can you do it with log? Yeah, you can, but you have to do something else. You have to have a change in base formula to convert everything natural log. Natural log is much to deal with. It's much less messy. So because you can solve with the e to the something rather than 10 to the something. And your answer is going to be 10 to the 3 or e to the 3 or something like that. So later on, you're going to see it a little bit better. But right now, just stick with natural log. But we're going to teach you how to do derivative of log, a different base. It's actually not hard. So first of all, do you understand this part? Okay. So I want you to use logarithm differentiation for this particular question. And then that way you know. So y equal to x times x minus 1 to the 3 over 2 over square root of x plus 1. And then later on, we're going to talk about implicit derivative. Yeah, just do this one. Let's take a derivative of this. And check each other. Make sure they do logarithm differentiations. Mm. Anybody want to join math competition this weekend? Next me, you can see all your OSS friends.
I'm gonna be a cyclist.
Oh,
Not to my ops. I don't want to see them.
yeah, you're up.
Yeah, it's my ops.
You are just scared.
This year, what time's the math?
You had to be there at 9. You had to be at 8:30. 8:30 to you're only gonna do individual. You cannot do team competition because I have 2 teams in calculus, and they are ready. But yeah, you can do individual tests, which is 30 question, multiple choice, no calculator. Yeah, don't bring calculator. They're gonna laugh at you. Did I tell you like those math nerd are so funny? One of my students is really smart, and when 2 a year he catch up to them. Like he's like the smartest student I've had. His name's Sadat. And Sadat, like he's very like ghetto because in our whole school is pretty ratchet. And so we go to math competition. We are the only kids that go to math competition without pencils. So we go there, and he went up to this guy. He's like, "Dude, can I borrow a pencil?" Because he see a dozen of pencil on the table, like 12 pencil on the top. Like he's ready to rock, right? And then he's like, "Dude, can I borrow your pencil?" And the guy literally says, "I need to use all 12." And he was like, "You son of a," and he turned around, he took a test, and he got better score than him. No, he borrowed another pencil from somebody else who has 3 pencils and wanting to borrow it. And he kicked his ass, which is I was like, yeah, that's the most satisfying thing ever. Okay, hopefully you guys got done. First of all, did you do natural log on both sides?
Yeah.
Did you do that? The questions I want to take a derivative. Good. Finding y prime. Okay, so hopefully you got done. But hopefully you guys got similar answer with each other. But literally the guy just told him I need to use all 12 pencil. And Sadat like shake his head and just like go away.
If he has 12, I'm just taking one of these. He's not gonna get
They get and run away.
He's a math student. What's he gonna do? Like,
Yeah. It'd be like this. You trying to mess with me? Who's the best kid in OSS? You should know.
Oh yeah, Fox is crazy.
Who?
No, but Joshua Oliver was like insane. Joshua Oliver is like,
Let me look it up how good at it.
oh yeah, so yeah.
So last year they probably in pre-calculus.
Joshua Oliver might be in calculus. That's like 3 years.
Huh?
Joshua Oliver, I don't know if he's competing for calculus because he was like 3 years ahead of us, or he's 3 years ahead now.
Okay, do you guys sit down?
Jay's gonna find out what he has to do for the free start. Nah, break the fingers, bro. You don't even want to break. Who cares?
He's gonna break each finger. He's getting an extra card. You just get cracking. Why is he trying to talk with Bob? Yes.
Okay, anyway, you guys done?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be natural log of y on both sides. So it'd be natural log of x times x minus 1 to the 3 over 2 over square root x plus 1. Huh? Yeah. And then I'm gonna split this. Is that okay? Y prime over y is equal to 1 over x plus 3 over 2 times 1 over x minus 1 minus 1/2 1 over x plus 1. Is that okay? So y prime is equal to x times x minus 1 to the 3 over 2 over square root x plus 1 times 1 over x plus 3 over 2 x minus 1 minus 1 over 2 x plus 1. So you should have answer like that. Is that okay? Okay. Now I'm going to talk about implicit derivative. So let's just say if I have 4xy plus natural log of x squared y is equal to 7. I want to find dy dx here. Now, why do I know this implicit derivative? Because x and y are mixed term. They mix together, and that's going to be implicit. Now, for me, like I say, anytime you have natural log, I will do algebra first. Because you don't want to do u prime over u in this particular part. Does that make sense? So what can I do there? Which is very important. What can I do there?
Just put over the addition.
Split up 2 ln of x, right? Plus ln of y. Did I do calculus yet?
No.
But this is going to make my life a lot easier rather than do product rule of u prime of u x squared y. Does that make sense? I'll split them up first. And then I'll take a derivative of this. Now I cannot avoid the product rule here, but that's fine. That's going to be x dy dx, because there's a product rule, plus 1 times y. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is called product rule, because x and y mix together. Plus 1 over x plus y prime over y is equal to 0. 2, yep, 2. Is that okay? So 4x dy dx plus 4y plus 2 over x plus dy dx over y is equal to 0. What we can do is move everything to the other side. So it'd be negative 4y minus 2 over x. And I'm going to factor out dy dx on this side. So it'd be 4x plus 1 over y. Is that okay? Can I move to the other side? So 4y minus 2 over x. This is just algebra. This is not like some rocket science. Let me know if you have any questions.
So you want us, like, at the beginning, you want us, like, to find y to plug in, or is that fine?
Huh?
You want us to find y to plug in or not?
No. Because we all go is find dy dx. We don't need to find y. Because probably more likely you're going to ask you the slope at a particular point. So technically you can plug it right here. I won't ask you like to evaluate.
So
Like,
you would ask like tangent line and give us like a point. And then
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Or I just ask you what's implicit derivative.
Okay.
Now, if I do this, the trickiest thing here to finish it off is to get rid of complex fraction. Or to get rid of complex fraction is multiply top and bottom by least common denominator. What is the least common denominator in this case? xy. Does that make sense? Because the bottom has x, top has y. I can get rid of it to become a simple fraction. So it'll be negative 4x y squared minus 2, x cancel out, y. So 4x squared y plus x. And that is the dy dx.
So why did you do that last time?
Huh?
For the fraction.
Because this is called a complex fraction, because you got fraction within a fraction. So your answer should never leave as a fraction over fraction. You should leave it as a simple fraction, which is numerator and denominator in terms of x and y. Yes.
Why did you like up a few steps? Why did you make it dy over?
I mean, because I don't like to write down y prime like this, because a lot of kids think that that's y to the first power. But we are evaluating for dy dx, so I convert that y prime to dy dx because they're the same notations. What?
What if you changed it after that?
Change to dy dx. So I changed the y prime to dy dx just because I can factor out dy dx. Last part I want to talk about is this part. Okay, this is the part like I will ask a lot of questions of, and today you gotta understand, but this is just a review. I want to find the relative maximum and relative minimum and inflection point. So find relative max, min, and inflection point. What do you have to do to find the relative max?
What's the interval?
What?
What's the interval? Don't you need the interval?
No, I don't need the interval.
But
You're talking about absolute, I need the interval. Relative, no. Relative, I just need to find something.
so you find it, okay.
What are you supposed to do first? Find the derivative. Why you find the derivative? Because you can find something else. Critical point. Thank you. Very good. Good job. Good job, Julissa. So if I do the derivative of this, it's gonna be x ln of x. What's derivative of x ln of x?
ln
ln of x plus 1. Good job. Now I'm going to tell you why it's ln of x plus 1. Because it's going to be 1 times ln of x plus x times 1 over x. So it'll be ln of x plus 1. Now, a lot of you guys don't know how to find a critical number here. So it'll be 0 equal to ln of x plus 1. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, can I move the 1 to the other side? So that's going to be negative 1 ln of x. Is that okay? And what do I do to solve for x?
It's equal to 0.
I did.
Oh, okay. Let's see that. Just convert it to log. Make the log.
No. That's just e to the both sides. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So now, obviously, x equal to e to the negative 1 is the critical point.
Yeah.
Now, be careful how you do a number line test. First of all, natural log can never be negative. So you start at 0. Is that okay? Because you don't have left side of here. All this are not defined. Is that okay? Now, what's the first critical point? E to the negative 1. How do you do a number line test here? Well, which equation we're going to go by? ln of x plus 1. So how do I test here? Which value do I plug in? Between 0 to e to the negative 1, what's the best value to plug in?
E to the negative 2.
E to the negative 2. Because the 1 is actually bigger. So I am going to test e to the negative 2. Why? Because 1 over e and 1 over e squared. Which one's smaller? 1 over e squared, right? So I'm going to type in this. So ln of e to the negative 2 plus 1. This cancel out. Negative 2 plus 1 is equal to negative. So this is a negative. Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's negative, right? Because I test e to the negative 2 and I test into ln of x plus 1. Is that okay?
Why did you I don't test it.
Because this is the factor I have left. This is the derivative. I want to plug in this to find out are they increasing or decreasing. Now, what's the next thing? What's e to negative 1? I can type in maybe 1. Because, or I can just e. If I do e, what will happen? ln of e is 1. 1 plus 1 is what? Positive. So this is a min or max? Relative min. If you want to find a point, you have to plug in. So it'll be e to the negative 1 times ln e to the negative 1. So that's roughly e to the negative 1 times the negative 1. So it'll be e to the -1 and negative e to the -1 is the relative min. Now I'm gonna do a second derivative very quickly. The second derivative is double prime. It'll be 1 over x. There is no inflection point. Because at 0, on left side is undefined. On the right side, it's positive. So there is no inflection point. Even you do the problem, you can only do test from 0 and up, right? So this is positive, but there's no changing of fractions. So therefore, there's no inflection point. So for testing this part, it's a little bit more tricky. This will be the hardest question on your test for this section, is to be able to find relative max and relative min. You're gonna have enough practice today, but make sure you really try to get down to knowing how to test the points and doing things. What? That's the where the relative minimum is. That's the point. That's the y value. No, it was negative to positive. So it go down and then go up. So it's relative min. What are you talking about? Flip sign wrong.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, you went from -1 equals ln x to x equals e to -1. So that means I see like you multiply e into the whole thing. So the ln and e just cancel out. But
Yeah, so that'll be -1. -1 times e to the -1 is going to be negative e to the -1. That's the y value of the relative minimum.
Where do you get that multiplication from?
I plug it. I find the relative min as e to the -1, right? I plug into this part. So I want to find the output. I want to find the y value relative minimum. So it'll be e to the -1 times ln of e to the -1. So this -1 put in the front, so it'll be negative e to the -1. ln e just 1. So that is going to be output is going to be negative e to the -1. And negative e to the -1, you can also write like this. That's also correct because that's e to the -1 power.
Brady is also presumed dead now.
What the hell is Brady?
You're more than a shit.
so and double dribble like that.
Nah, bro, I can't dribble.
Just dribble
I can't do bro.
Kentucky. Ew. Ew. I mean, Duke is the same color, but I prefer Duke over Kentucky.
Well, everybody
So,
No. That's
in New York. Off the
He was just asking me, like,
find some rich guy you can marry to.
That's the plan.
What they call it, sugar daddy or sugar? A really old 70-year-old rich guy. Really old 70-year-old rich guy.
Yeah, what's wrong? Come on, you're only 8 years old. Oh my God.
I never went to my
What you been up to? At least you had it open. No, one time I was in the school, I said, it was number 2. Like I legit, I went home and Big Dog Sean. Mario was not sick. Yo, we got and the math in the beginning, what's going Oh, is it a square root?
ignore the absolute values. There's a reason for that, and I don't know if this reason's right, but I'll try my best to.
You can write a semantic. I'm just gonna get write as big as you can. We're making a safe paper here.
Where x cannot be x has to be greater than 0. That means you take a derivative, which is 1 over x. That restriction yeah, we take the derivative of ln of x. The domain restriction still applies to the derivative, right? So that means that when you remember the graph of
Oh, that was just
so 1 over x is a positive version of negative. When we take the derivative of ln of x, 1 over x. When you take the derivative of ln of x, there's only the positive version of 1 over x. Yeah. So when you introduce the absolute value in there, you introduce the negative side. My guess is that you can just ignore the absolute value. Yeah, I made sure to double check.
Okay, so the way I did it is that they said the value to square root and I just go square.
This is what I figured out.
That cancels out like it's right.
So when you take the derivative, of ln of absolute value, you introduce the negative side of 1 over x. So it's still the same 1 over x. It's just that when you take the derivative, you're introducing both sides. So here, you see how 1 over, so the derivative of ln of x, right, is 1 over x. But you see that it's missing a negative part. That's because there's a restriction here. ln of x cannot be negative. So when you take the absolute value, you introduce the negative side of 1 over x. So it's still the same function, just without the domain restriction.
So we have to like graph.
It's still the same graph. It's without the domain restriction.
So we don't have to do anything. I'm just ignore it.
I think that's my
No way. No flipping way.
All right, so I think that most question is gonna be based on according to popular request is 61. 61 is how do I take a derivative of ln of x squared, and I love this question. I would definitely put on the test, just because this one it has. I will tell you like which kind of questions on the test. Pay attention to those. Write it down, so that way you know like what kind of things I'm more emphasized on. So for me, like I will always tell you is one of my like I said, one of my best friend in college, his name is Michael Barrett. He write a book about SAT. It's called Black Book for SAT. I don't huh?
He wrote it.
Yeah. He's a I fenced together with him. He's a fencing captain. But the thing is like not to tell you that he wrote a book. It's actually he wrote a he's a linguistic major, and he wrote a research paper to get his doctorate degree. And I thought that research paper was interesting. He's a linguistic major, so he says in order for you to learn a new language, that you have to hear the space between words, which is kind of phenomenal. I think it's a really interesting research paper, and because like when you hear Chinese people talk, do you feel like they talk really fast? Yeah, the same thing for a Chinese person. Listen to a Hispanic person talking, you probably feel like they talk really fast as well, right? Or if you hear an Arabic person talking, you probably feel like an Arabic person talk really fast. If I listen to Urdu, I probably feel like he's talking really fast. But the thing is, it's not they talking that fast because the way they stop the words is different. They hear the space between words. So it's like when you hear a new language, it's not because you don't understand. Not only you don't understand the vocab, it's actually you hear the words all jumbling together. It's like you typing without space bar. Imagine when you're typing words without space bar, it's really hard to recognize the space between each word. So you can't really study that particular words, like soy for I am for Spanish. Then you cannot hear that word stop at end with a Y. So the problem of math is this. I wouldn't write my own research paper about linguistics, but I would write on math, is people cannot see parentheses. People cannot see arguments. And that's the biggest problem. Matter of fact, not only in this, I tested this first question in the pre-calculus class. 37 kids in my pre-calculus class, only one student were able to correctly tell me what's the difference between those two. Only one student out of 37 kids, and pre-calculus is not a dumb class. It's most junior smart people that's going to take Calc 1 next year. So only one person, I remember, only Austin was able to answer both questions correctly. Why? Because they don't know what is 2 squared is. They actually don't know where the parenthesis is. There is a parenthesis on the second one. It's just invisible. It's right here. But nobody sees that, and so that they thought it's wrong. Even you see on Instagram posts, people posting like a question like this. I've seen them like before, and 70% of people on the bottom comment that they know that they swear their math is right. They think the second one is +4. Because it's negative times negative is positive. I learned this in grade school. And they say the second one is +4. So the problem is you don't understand the parenthesis, you don't understand math. A good student in terms of math is they understand where the parenthesis lies. Pay attention to where the parenthesis is. It's going to be a game changer for a lot of you guys. So understand that this is a parenthesis itself. So this must be u. Does that make sense? So then you derivative of, if I ever take derivative of natural log of u is u prime over u. So that means if I take a derivative of this, the bottom has to be ln x squared. Matter of fact, I can even bring the 2 down to the front because that's the rules. Is that okay? So u equal to ln x squared or ln x2. Now if I take a u prime, that's going to be what? 2 times 1 over x will be 2 over x. So this is 1 times 2 over x, and I'm done. 2 and 2 cancel out. 1 over x. And don't write x behind the ln x. That's where the confusing is. So you put an x in the front. Don't write the ln x x because you will think that's ln x squared. You write an x that's in the front, and that's a proper way to write. And that's the answer. How many of you guys got this one right? Yeah.
How come you don't like solve the inside and then with that answer?
You're not trying to solve. You're trying to take a derivative.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is like, how come you don't take derivative of like the inside parentheses and then with that answer you take derivative? You get ln x squared. You find derivative of that. How come you don't?
Is that more complicated though? I mean,
My question is like, is the answer the same?
I don't know. You can try it, but I don't want to try it. It looks like that looks like disgusting.
All I did was just find derivative of ln squared, which was 2 times x over x squared. And then you find ln 2x over x squared, which is ln 2x minus ln. And you find
Did you get a same answer?
well, it's different because there's still an ln there. Because you kept the ln in the middle parentheses, but I did middle and then I also did
Oh no. I'm gonna have to write it. It's okay. We talk about after class because I want to go to other topic. I don't want to confuse student, but yeah, why not? I only have answers. Okay, so some people says, can I post an answer? Yeah, why not? Actually, all right. So other question that you have? Any other question that you might have? 72. What does 72 says?
ln of secant plus tangent.
Okay. Okay. So the biggest debate is what is going on with the absolute value. And I see Anderson go across the table says, hey, what is the difference between absolute value there? So the thing is this. Absolute value, there's no difference. You're going to treat it as a parenthesis. The reason why they have absolute value is because you cannot natural log of a negative number. So they want to make a function that's able to take a derivative. If I just say, because you're going to have a lot of domain issue. You don't want to have that domain issue, then you say, okay, let's put an absolute value there. So therefore, it's always positive. So again, it just follow the parenthesis rule. That's no problem. That's just a parenthesis. It's called group function, by the way. Absolute value of parenthesis, they are group function. This is u. Then the result is going to be always u prime over u. So then u is going to must be secant of x plus 10 of x. Now derivative of secant of x is secant of x 10 of x. And derivative of 10 of x is secant square of x. And that's it, you're done. There's no natural log. A lot of people write extra natural log after you take a derivative. No, you don't have to write it down.
Just ignore the absolute value. It's just making sure that.
Yeah, that just make sure that your function is always able to take a derivative because sometimes you're gonna have a natural log of negative number, and that's not defined. Okay, next questions. 79, sure. Do you have a phone has a VPN? You can post on that if you want. It's this page on the left hand side. All right, so next questions.
79.
What?
79.
What does 79 says?
Natural log root 1 plus sine squared x. And then pi over 4 to natural log root 3 over 2.
Like this?
Um,
Or the root is all the way down? Root is all the way down? Okay, that's good. So good question, by the way. By the way, this one's not necessarily need to give. I can just give you an x value. You are trying to find equation tangent line, right? So then can I say it's y equal to ln square root 1 plus sine square of x or 1 minus sine square of x? It's 1 plus, right? So can I write it in the front? 1/2 ln of 1 plus sine square of x. Is that okay? And what is the derivative of this? 1/2 1 plus sine square of x. Is that okay? And what is the top? What's the derivative of the top? This is the best question in here. No, it's not cosine square. 2 sine of x, cosine of x, because there is a chain rule. Is that okay? Now I'm going to plug in pi over 4. So 1/2 2 sine of pi over 4, cosine of pi over 4. Great question. 1 plus, nobody asked me this one. I think a lot of people did get to this. Chauvin, did you get to this question? That means you're slacking. Square root 2 over 2 times square root 2 over 2 plus 1 plus square root 2 over 2. So that is going to give you 2 over 4 over 1 plus square root 2 over 2. Now I'm going to multiply 2 over 2 here. So it'll be 1/2 divided by 2 plus square root 2 over 2. I think that's what I have. And then I forgot, obviously. So 1 plus 1/2, I think. So that's going to be 3/2. So that is 1 over 3. Did you get 1 over 3?
yeah.
Y equal to 1 over 3 times x minus pi over 4. Y minus, I don't know, natural log of root 3 over 2. Yeah. Very, very good question. Phenomenal. I love this question. If I can recreate it, this will be a good test question.
You do, you're asking that, right? Yeah. You just, derivative of ln of 2x, and then the derivative of ln of 2x is 1 over x.
40%
Right? Yeah, but the ln of 2x.
One more question. Yes, Tanner.
Because remember, you can split this up.
What does 75 says?
ln of 2, right? But when you take the derivative,
2 to ln of 2x?
T plus 1.
g of 0. Okay, that's true.
And they were trying to find the derivative, I assume? Okay, so I love this question. Every question you ask today, you will see it on the test. And I especially love this one because this one is what? FTC, thank you. So I love any FTC. You will get, I think Jared will tell you, I put on pretty much every single test after that one. So you are going to be familiar with it, understand it. Look, the way to prepare for AP exam or SAT is same idea to prepare anything. You prepare the 80% of the things that most common on the test. Because you can prepare those 20%. In order to study those 20% that are known for SAT, it's very difficult to accomplish that. But if you get 80%, guess what? The 20% is depend on luck if you see the question you know. So if you can get 80%, that means your score is going to be 720, 710. That's fine. From 720 to 800, it's going to be required to know special niche problems. As a niche problem, it's kind of hard to study because they have so many to choose from. But your goal is not to get 800 on math. Your goal to get 750 on math. If you get 750, you're good because Ivy League will take a 750 and they'll move on. It doesn't. You can score 790. Some people try to do 790 to 800, but Harvard doesn't really care. They don't care if you score 780 or 800. but they care if you get to 780. They know everybody makes some type of mistake. It's not a big problem. So what happened is this test questions here. This question will for sure be on the exam because they are very intuitive. So I'm gonna assume that's G of t. Is that okay? Is that okay? Now I'm just gonna integrate that. G of ln of 2x minus g of 2. Now I want to take a derivative now. So it'll be small g of ln of 2x times 1 over x. Does that make sense? Because derivative of natural log of 2x is 1 over x. Minus g of 2 times 0. Gone. So that would be 1 plus t plus 1 is equal to g of t. So it'll be 1 plus natural ln of 2x plus 1 times 1 over x. And that's going to be ln 2x plus 1 over x. Great question. This one on the test. I love FTC. It's down test, yes.
Oh yeah. No.
Next question. One more. One more. Hurry up. If not, we're gonna go to the next one. Huh? What 78 says?
So f of x equal to 4 minus x squared minus ln of
4 minus x squared?
That's what
I don't remember this question. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I don't like this question that much, but okay. 4 minus x squared minus ln of half x plus 1. And they say 0 to 4. F prime x is equal to negative 2x minus half x plus 1 times 1 half. If I plug in 0, it's going to be negative 2 times 0 minus 1 half times 1. So that is equal to negative 1 half, I think. So u prime over u, right?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So y minus 4 equal to negative half times x minus 0. I don't know. That's not as good as the other one. The other one's better. You guys do homework? You guys only pick the easy one to do. The hard one, you guys run away. I'm gonna test the hard one though. I already told you what's gonna be on the test. This is a 2-test question. I don't like this one. I like the other one better. All right, let's talk about today. So yesterday we talked about how to take a derivative of this, right? That we know how to take a derivative of this. Do you guys know how to take a derivative of this? Yes? What are you supposed to? You split up and take a derivative of each u prime over u, right? But we never did talk about this one. So this is a yesterday. Today is a little bit different. Today is going to be y equal to natural log, no, without it. So what if I ask you to use natural log differentiation to do this one? What are you supposed to do here? There is no natural log here, but what can you do? How do I take a derivative of this? Quotient rule, chain rule. Do I really want to do that? Probably not. It's going to be very complex because there is quotient rule within the product rule within the chain rule. It's not something I would touch. But guess what? On the test, you guys gonna try that, and I won't even look at it. I'll just walk it around. But I will say use natural log differentiation. The only thing you have to do is natural log here, natural log here. Do natural log on both sides. I can technically do that. Is that okay? Now natural log of y, I can say, well, that's natural log. This is just 1/2 ln of x minus 1 plus 3/2 ln of x minus 2 minus 1/2 ln of x squared plus 4. Did that do anything that you don't know how to do? Everything here just splitting. Now I'm going to show you the taken derivative. So I'm going to take a derivative of both sides now. The hardest part is actually on the left hand side. What's derivative of natural log of y? What? Nope. That's right. It's y prime over y. Because there is a u prime over u, this time it's not x. This is y. Y is not x. We are taking derivative with respect to x for y. So therefore, there's an implicit derivative occurs. So it's y prime over y. Does everybody understand that part? It's kind of complex. It's like u prime over u because we're taking derivative with respect to x. If we take a derivative with respect to u, then just going to be 1 over u. But we take a derivative with respect to x, this y and x not matching. So then there's a chain rule involved. Dy dx over y. Am I going too fast? Understand for everybody?
This could take equals through.
Yes.
Would there have to be another larger parentheses between the first two?
This one here? Yeah.
Oh, well, I meant second. Plus.
For this one, parenthesis right here?
Yeah.
It can be needed, can be without it because they both are plus on the top. If it's dividing the x minus 2, 3 over 2, and dividing by square root x squared plus 4, that matter, that parenthesis, but technically if you want to see it, there was a parenthesis there. So now I'm going to take a derivative of this side, so it'll be 1/2 of 1 over x minus 1 minus 3 over 2 times 1 over x minus 2 minus 1/2 times 2x over x squared plus 4. So the 2 cancel out. So the only thing that is matter is you want to dy dx. So you want to do multiply y on both sides. So it'll be 1/2 times 1 over x minus 1. And this is a plus 3 over 2, 1 over x minus 2 minus x over x squared plus 4 times the original function. Does that make sense? Because you multiply the y over, the y is the original function. You have to including the original function. So the answer yesterday is just owning this part. It's owning this part here. But answer today is there's more additional. That additional part is because you natural log both sides. You have y prime over y. So you move the y over, you get a y of original function on the other side. Josh, did I confuse you?
No, I did.
Oh, you basically, oh.
Basically, it's just another.
Yeah, so because of yeah, so y over y prime over y, right? So I multiply y on both sides, and the y is the original functions.
And then after you multiply the y over, you finish.
Yeah, I just rewrite the y over there, and the y I just write it in terms of x. Is that okay? I'll let you try one of the homework questions. So we are finished with 5.1. No, we got a few more questions to go. So y equal to x times x minus 1 to the 3 over 2 over square root of x plus 1. I want you to do yeah, I want you to do logarithm differentiations.
X minus 1 times x plus 1.
What time we get off here? Way enough time. I do. I don't remember. I don't remember stuff. You know, like there was like a dad joke about this guy was asking, like, how come you call your wife honey? And the guy is like, I don't remember her name since 20 years ago, and I don't want she get mad at me, and so I just keep on calling her honey.
That's not the case with you.
That's something gonna be me. I won't remember my wife's name, and that's how bad my memory is. I remember your test score. I don't remember your name. You got a 12% on that test. I remember you.
I guess I'll be remembered correctly.
Selective memory.
Oh yeah.
So first of all, again, I don't want a chain rule, quotient rule, product rule all combined together. So the only way I can do this is to natural log both sides. And we're gonna come back to this on the last problem, but we're gonna go to 2 other problem meanwhile. But did you do that the first step? Did you split up all of them? Okay, so then I'm gonna take a derivative now, so it'd be y prime over y. 1 over x plus 3 over 2 times x times 1 over x minus 1 minus 1/2 times 1 over x plus 1. And then I'll just move the y over, so that's going to be 1 over x time plus 3 over 2 times x minus 1 minus 1 over 2 times x plus 1 times the original function, which is the x minus 1 to the 3 over 2 all over square root x plus 1. So hopefully you got to this part. So that way you can take something that's very, very over complex using natural log as a vehicle to take the derivative without too much of an issue.
Does this work all at the same time? If you see something like, you just use natural log?
It does, but if something like let's say x minus 1 over square root x plus 1, I would just do quotient rule. If something that has 3 rules involved, quotient, product, and chain, then I will use natural log. Now the answer will be the same, but however, most of the time it's gonna ask you to use quotient rule. This is one of the special cases, like when things overwhelming, you can actually take a derivative using natural log.
And then just double.
Yeah, I can do basic arithmetic.
All of that under y plus 3.
I remember I asked you one time why 3 times 8, and I couldn't figure it out.
Y double prime over y prime.
Yeah, I can read this.
So that would be all of this. I get it. Would be all of this over double prime.
The next question is a little bit more challenging. It's called finding dy dx here. Now, imagine that here. I don't want you jump in and do it. Wesley, put your phone away. Seahawk already lost. They lost, right? Seahawks. Wesley is Seahawks fan.
He's a major Seahawks fan, so you can't be dissing him like that.
I know, right?
He's not gonna talk about it.
I just take a needle and stab his heart like repeatedly. I'm very good at that.
Yeah, you are. Yo, Sean, what do you call it for?
Yeah, he will fight me.
I don't know.
All right, so what kind of derivative I'm looking for here? Implicit, good. So implicit derivative. Now here's the thing. Imagine that you would do implicit and you do u prime over u here because you say this is the argument here. That's gonna be a messy situation. Is there any way to avoid that? I can do algebra, right? So always choose the algebra because on the test, you guys gonna do like u prime over u here, which is gonna be ridiculous a lot more complicated. Or you could have just done this algebraically. You can say ln of 2x, and this is a minus, so it'll be minus ln of y. Does that make sense?
Wouldn't they close?
Then you have to take
Maybe it's a minus. You're distributing the negative.
You distribute a negative, right? Because that negative sign's in the front. You think about it as ln of x squared, so it'll be 2 ln of x plus ln of y. But the negative sign's the distributable term. So this is how I trick you, right? This is how I trick you. So you got to learn to maneuver. You're going to say, okay, well, Mr. You're trying to trick me. I'm not going to fall for it, right? So those are the parentheses that matters that you guys have to see. So now let's take a derivative of this. It's going to be derivative of this. So it'll be 2 times, well, there's a product rule here because of x squared times y. So it'll be x squared times dy dx. Is that okay? Plus 2x y. Is that okay? Minus 2 1 over x But derivative natural log of y is what? So instead of write down y prime over y, I'm going to write down dy dx over y. Is that okay? Equal to 0. Derivative of 7 is 0. A lot of people forgot the derivative of 7 is actually 0. So now I'm going to distribute this in 2x squared dy dx plus 4xy minus 2 over x minus dy dx over y. Now, the key thing is I'm going to isolate those two. I move everything to the other side, so it'll be 2 over x minus 4xy. And on this side, I'm going to factor out dy dx. I'm left with 2x squared minus 1 over y. Am I going too fast? Now, can I solve for dy dx? Yeah, just divide it over. Now, this is called a complex fraction. That means fraction within a fraction. There is a shortcut to get rid of both fraction because you have something over x and something over y. The shortcut is find the least common denominator between x and y. So least common denominator between x and y is going to be xy. So you multiply xy top and bottom. So that's going to give you 2y minus 4x squared y squared over 2x cubed y minus x. Because y was simplified down to x. And that's a way to figure out what the dy dx is.
Why do you have to multiply by xy over xy?
Because I can get rid of a complex fraction. By the way, math competitions this weekend. Does anybody want to join? No, maybe. Jimmy, you will.
Yes.
Okay, Jimmy will join.
Mr.
Elise cannot.
Mr.
No. Nor. No.
Mr. You gonna let me compete?
I'll let you compete. Zayden's gonna be there. You're Batman and Robins.
Zayden is bad.
Zayden's a Batman. I'm sorry.
His
It's a
car
big-
has like a Batman license plate on it. It's like all black.
Zayden's a. You're Robins. I know, right? See, I'm good at taking the needle, stabbing it. Ashbury, you want to do it? Saturday morning. You work? Where do you work? You work at Publix? Oh, nice. Don't mess with me. I want more questions.
I need everyone's attention, please. At this time, we are initiating a hold. Teachers, please make sure your doors are locked, secure all students within the hallway, and no one in the courtyard or outside areas. Again, we are in a hold.
Hey, I don't gotta go to Mr. Reed.
Something happened.
But we're seasoned.
I don't know. I would mind it.
Open up the window.
It's not locked down, right?
We can't be.
You hear that?
So, extra
Yo, I'm running.
Yeah, I'll become the Flash.
I'll spend $150 already.
I should have recorded this period because next period is gonna be short.
If you have a next period.
If I have next period. All right, so I do see a lot more crazy stuff going on though, because yesterday, supposedly, they pulled one of the swim team person says they investigate her, see if she saw a gun in the bathroom yesterday. Yeah. Anybody on swim team here? No. I think a lot of swim team member got pulled. Says they will ask if they see a gun. And the day before, or just so you know, for your future reference, Sydney was talking about. I don't know if you hear what Sydney was talking about. That she write down she write down something about she write down something for her debate speech, and she said something about sexual assault, and then Coach Gabe pull her out because they can see what you guys write down.
What's he?
What?
What's he gonna get us all killed, bro?
What happened?
We talk crap about my Seahawks.
We're standing outside the rooms, right? The hallway.
So yeah, you gotta be careful what you type in the. If you don't want a school to know, you type in, then they was okay. They see everything on their computer. They have a flag. They can. No, they can see all the time. The second student I know, that's cool. I do hear the helicopter.
Yeah, no, pretty sure how you cancel out the number.
Okay, so how do I cancel out? So, guys, I'm gonna go into talk about how do I cancel out, because xy distributed 2x, the x cancel out.
Oh.
So left with the y. Now xy cancel, multiply this one, it's gonna be x squared y squared. X squared times xy is gonna be 2x cubed y. And that's kind of sus. I'm about to jump the fence. Adios. I'm like, you gotta stay here. My car's right there. I'm gonna jump out and drive away.
$5 a ride.
No, life or death, 5,000.
Max profit.
It's supply and demand.
Dude, that would suck. No, but there's like a neighborhood back there, right? You can jump the wall. Dude, my friend peed on that wall. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, so shh.
It wasn't.
Oh, I did record it.
Oh, they got the wrong screen.
All right. Y equal to x natural log of x. Y equal to x natural log of x. That here is I want you to find relative max and relative min. So in order to find relative max or min or inflection points, what do I have to do? What do I have to do in order to find maximums? Not absolute maximum. I want to find relative maximum, relative minimum. Is it possible for me to find? How would I do it? Number line test, but what do I do first? Derivative. Yeah. So I need to take a derivative. So what's the derivative of x natural log of x? What is the product rule, right? So it'll be 1 times ln of x plus x times 1 over x.
Tim, you can walk outside and see what's happening.
Kevin, go check out the hallway. Meanwhile, we just climb out the window.
Dude, I'll do it.
It's like the bait like so bad.
All right, so that's gonna be ln of x plus 1. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, what's the next thing? In order to find relative maximum and minimum, I have to do what? Number line test. But before that, I have to find something else. Zeros. The critical points. So 0 equal to ln of x plus 1. How do I find 0 here? How do I solve for x? Subtract 1. How do I find the x here? How do I get rid of ln? No. E to the both sides. The e and ln cancel out. E to the negative 1 equal to x. Or you can do log e of x is equal to negative 1. So draw a heart. So be e to the negative 1 equal to x. Same way. Exponential form like Jamie saying. So either way, it's going to be e to the negative 1. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a number line test here. That's going to be e to the negative 1. And unless I'm going to do 0, there's a reason why I do 0. Why do you think I do 0? It cannot be negative, right? So this part is undefined, right? Because this one's crossed it out. There's nothing on the left side of the graph. So I'm going to do e to the negative 1. Now, with that being said, if it e is to the negative 1, now what am I testing on? I'm testing on ln of x plus 1. So what's a value less than e to the negative 1? Like, this is hard to think of. What will be a value that it can easily test but less than e to the negative 1? E to the negative 2. Good job. You're a genius, at least. And then somebody else say that on the other side. So e to the negative 2, I'm going to test. So I'm going to plug in e to the negative 2 into here. So it'll be natural log of e to the negative 2 plus 1. What happened to ln of e? What happened here? Cancel. Negative 2 plus 1 is equal to negative 1. So this side is negative. Does that make sense? What do I test greater than e to the negative 1? Can I just do e to the 0? Right? Or I can do e to the 1. Let's do e to the 1. ln of e plus 1. So it's 1 plus 1. So it's 2. So it's a positive. So therefore, e to the negative 1 is absolute. Is a min or max? It's a min, right? So can you find out the y value of the max, min? So I'm going to plug in to original function. Y equal to x ln of x. I'm going to plug in y equal to e to the negative 1 ln of e to the negative 1. The negative 1 put in the front. And ln of e cancel out. It's going to be negative. This one's 1 over e, right? So the max minimum is e to the negative 1 and negative 1 over e. That's going to be the relative minimum. This is going to be the hardest question on the test. Knowing how to test, which value to test, and you get some type of difficulty on those testing. This will be the hardest part. Now, how do I find the inflection point? Yes.
Where did the negative?
Where's the negative come from? It's coming from this negative 1 drop in the front. Because that's the exponent. And L and E cancel out, become 1. Is that okay?
Oh.
Now, inflection point is double prime. So y equal to ln of x plus 1. This is y prime. Y double prime, just take a derivative of that, is 1 over x. In this particular case, is it an inflection point or no? Well, there is none actually, because you start at 0. On this case, it's undefined. Does that make sense? Because you test less than 0. It's going to be negative, but the original function is not going to present. It's not going to show up on the graph. So even though it's negative, that is not showing on the original graph, so it doesn't count. So there's actually just like this part is crossed out because the original function has a restriction. Now you're going to test greater than 0, then that's going to be positive, but there's no changing sign. Even 1 over x, there was not possible because it's asymptote. So there's no inflection point. So in this case, it's going to be no inflection points. Now remember, some of your test question is going to be inflection point. You're going to have to figure out. So, yes, that's it for the end of the day. I don't know how long we're going to hold here. I think they are in the process funding.
Yeah. Do you want to do it starts at 9:50 and it goes all the way to like early morning.
Oh, because you create an exponent to remove it.
Isn't that freaky? Do you see how far it goes down? Like, there's just a bunch of stuff happening.
How do you see this?
Madison sent me it. It's public information.
Really?
Yeah, it's City of Orlando. Those are the calls they receive.
But it's all in block.
Hmm?
What is a block? Block source code mechanism, block. Block.
That's the location.
Why is a block? What do they call it? Block.
I have no idea.
The inflection points.
But it's not in the school though.
So
I don't know.
you just take a well,
So meanwhile, you guys are here. Why don't you try this problem? Okay, so try this problem is, I think this problem is a little bit harder. So I must make sure I know the answer before I give it to you, because I don't know how long we're going to be whole here. We must learn math. So e to the ln of x, e and ln cancel out each other. They have to be directly right next to each other. Ln of e to the x, ln of e cancel out because they're inverse to each other. Okay, so for this question that is a little bit more difficult. So this is your homework question. This is the hardest homework question. Was y equal to x ln of x? I want you to try this one. I don't know how long we're gonna be here. Maybe the rest of the day. What?
oh, we have a grammar.
Darn.
Oh darn! I really
You just have to learn calculus here.
Give those chapters ideas. A couple of juniors in my class. Mechanic actually writing it, it's just like so they were like about chapters.
See, I don't think it's fair. Like if somebody holding a gun, right? I might not want to live stream.
Serious getting arrested at the end of the day.
No, I just thought it was really funny. Like white people is doing mass shooting, and then it's a mental health. Like the kid is
Yeah.
it's a mental health, right? If it's any other race
Yeah.
doing the shooting, then they'll be a terrorist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
No, if I would never.
no, I'm just speaking the fact.
No, he's speaking.
I'm speaking of fact.
Dude,
Where the latest fall happened.
You go back to the the Albion Libras get
How is that?
Yeah, if it's like Omar is doing the shooting, it'll be a terrorist.
Muslim terrorist.
Yeah.
Get to go to school.
Like how ridiculous. And then the white people are shooting the mental health issue. We have to take care of the mental health.
The pictures like them smiling with like a teddy bear or like a fish.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
30%. You just found the whole size by Ellen at the bottom. How is it not just like derivative of derivative by Ellen?
Because it's a product. It's an X times LMX. They are two separate functions.
Oh, so it's like
A prime times.
no.
Yeah, so lefty right, righty left.
The
Oh, if that's the case, bro.
you're not multiplying it together. This just becomes the augment.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Oh wait,
At this time, the hold has been lifted. Thank you all for your cooperation. At this time, as teachers, we may
Very wrong.
Take my
That is the
Yeah, that's very wrong. Yeah, so I don't think that like the way like white people have a lot of advantages.
Yeah.
Like they do the mass shooting all the time.
Yeah. And at this point, it's so common. You know, like,
Well,
it's
why
not-
don't we call them terrorists?
Exactly. It's a valid take.
I don't know. I don't care if I get canceled for saying that, but that's a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. I would
That's a
fight for you.
fact.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a really like hideous act if they don't get labeled as terrorists.
so
Yeah.
terrible.
They should be labeled as terrorists as well, not mass shooters, terrorists. No, all of a sudden it's mental health.
Exactly.
Huh?
Good demonstration. Yeah.
On each comment, but on the latest one, they were
Bye.
Oh, 61. That was the one where I was like asking like derivative inside.
61, yeah.
It's like
Yeah, no. You're not taking the inside and then outside. The reason being is I can't even explain the reason why.
is it just like y equals ln of that? So you're just finding derivative.
Yeah, that's the argument. The argument is whatever inside the parentheses.
Okay.
So you are technically, you only see the outside first. And then you're going to start by u prime over u. But if you start with the inside, that means you only see the inside first, which doesn't make sense. Because imagine that if you have fg of x, right? You are seeing the f of x first, and then g of x inside. Then that's how the chain rule apply. The chain rule go from the outside in.
There's nowhere to hide in the imposter.
No way to hide. Don't worry, we're gonna jump out of the window and you stay inside.
It's not funny with CA.
What do you mean?
Sheila. He must be sad. Oh, he's gonna die. Yeah. He's tired. Did they tell you what happened? I did not finish. But in second period, today, I did learn how to do the absolute value. I'm looking at it. I do not want to have to do it for each individual part. But I learned there's actually some formula. There's a formula for getting the derivative of an absolute value. Yeah. It's f of x times f prime of x over absolute value. Yeah. So you're taking the prime of an absolute value. It's like an outside of the
Yeah.
Oh, the prime? You're like, I
I learned that in the early second period. You're really not, because I only found that out in like an hour ago.
Someone said that they called me files for a week. That's why the school went on hold.
I'm just standing fine. That's so like when you have LN then you can because it's like you substitute f prime.
You sent me a picture.
No, you just put it in.
Yeah, I heard that.
Helicopter.
So it.
No, it was like loud sound. It sounded like a plane. It sounded too close for it.
Sorry. So it would be.
I didn't even take one for the team.
And then like 5 seconds after I heard
You're
it,
actually
I heard that like, oh god.
this one. I think.
I texted my mom goodbye.
Oh, does that mean they don't let you go out?
Maddie, go open the door.
Yeah, I thought we was out. I thought we was out.
It's Maddie. It's Maddie.
Yo, they don't let me leave the school.
I'm so glad you decided not to shoot you.
No,
Did you really think it was a criminal? You really think he was? Do you?
I have to.
Do you really think Irving would only be like, oh, it's a criminal? Never mind.
My mom said school called to contact related to school.
They are on Ron decision. Yeah.
I was
I'm disappointed because that means you're lying.
I was even more disappointed when